On page 1 of our companion PDF, you will find the 4 requirements of our confirmation process. In this video, we're going to be talking about the retreats, the classes, and the interview at the end of process. These requirements, when we say requirements, are not pass-fail items. They are a certain way of giving our confirmation process shape so that every child has a high-quality experience that touches on different parts of what it means to be a United Methodist, to understand that, and to live in community with other Christians, because when you join the church, that's the life that you're choosing, is to be in community with other Christian people. So the first requirement that we should probably talk about that is the most fun is to pick one of our retreats. Every confirmand should go on a retreat. I think every person should go on a Christian retreat at some time in their life. This is where the connective tissue of fellowship and friendship is born, and for many kids, where they have a great spiritual experience because they take so much time out of their regular routine. There are 2 retreats offered, one in the fall and one in the spring. They're each different on purpose. So your confirmand is welcome to go to both, but they must go to one to complete process. The retreat in the fall is an all-conference retreat, which means that United Methodists about the same age from around the state will gather together in November at an event called Refuge. And that is a wonderful way to get acquainted with the larger connection of the United Methodist Church and what it might be like to be a youth in our church. Our other retreat option in the spring is much smaller, and it's a lot more of a traditional youth group setup. We will go to a local camp. It will be just our kids, and we will be learning about something confirmation related. Every year we rotate that curriculum. So if your child has been on a spring retreat with us before with mid-youth, they will learn something new every time they go. Either one of these counts towards your retreat credit. Now, next is our 6 classes. You might be familiar with a confirmation process that takes an entire year, that's taught during maybe a Sunday school hour or 1 hour after church. And you can imagine that with something like 40-ish weeks, that is a lot of information. If you come up with 40 lessons, you might be learning things that are, yes, essential to being confirmed, but you also might be learning things that are maybe peripheral or maybe things that you could learn later. In that style and that model, at least at Pulaski Heights, the rule was that you had 3 skips, which makes sense in that number of requirements. But as we started to look at what kids were missing, we noticed that some kids were here for almost all of it, and some kids, the 3 that they missed were God, communion, and Jesus. And by the time that they got to the end, they didn't have some essential things that they needed to make a good decision about their confirmation. The clergy of Pulaski Heights United Methodist Church have sat down together and created 6 essential concepts that every confirmand should learn. These are taught in 2 modules, one in the fall and one in the spring. They are almost identical. All 6 classes are taught in the fall. All 6 classes are taught in the spring. This is so that your family has maximum flexibility about what time would be right for your child to mix and match to get all 6 of these classes. For some, if you have spring sports, you might want to take all of your classes in the fall, or if you have fall sports, you might want to take all classes in the spring. There is a possibility that if you take, let's say, 3 in the fall and you miss 3 of them, you could make up those 3 in the spring because they're identical. Now, you might look at our schedule and say, these classes are normally taught on a Sunday afternoon. They're about an hour and a half apiece. They are intensive so that kids have maximum time to get to know one another and so that they are able to get the maximum information out of it. They're taught by clergy people, and so your child will be able to have a personal interaction with every clergy on our staff, which is a really special part of what we do. But if you look at our schedule and say, Sunday afternoons don't work for me, we have this other commitment, and you look at the fall and you have a commitment, you have a spring and you have a commitment, don't sweat it. Our third option for our classes is that we send our lesson to you to do as a family or to do as a parent and child team. And then once you go over that lesson together, you make a meeting with me at your leisure where we just check for some basic understanding. Did you go through the lesson? Do you understand the basic concepts? We check them off, and then that lesson is complete. So you can mix and match any of these ways to get all 6 of your credits. But what it takes is some intentional planning and some communication with me and youth staff about how you want to put all those pieces together, and we will help you do it. Lastly, in this video, I want to talk about our clergy interview because when I say interview, we often engage with that word interview as a pass or fail, or you get the job or you don't get the job. And what we're really talking about is a slight pause right before confirmation happens. They happen the 2 weeks before the confirmation ceremony, where your child gets to sit with an expert in the faith and ask them any questions that they need to ask before they feel good about making a decision that's so big about their faith. The structure of these interviews goes like this. They will be asked 2 questions from a list that we will send out to you about concepts that we've covered in our essential classes. What is communion? Why do we baptize babies? What is special about the United Methodist Church and its structure? So that kids have a chance to demonstrate some of the things that they've learned. They will then be asked 2 questions about their own personal faith. What does your prayer life look like? Where's a place that you see God regularly? How do you want to stay engaged with our church after confirmation? And then they will be given time to ask any questions that they want to ask. And we will ask them, do you feel ready to be confirmed? This again is not pass or fail. It's constructed so that if your child comes to the end and they say, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, that pastor can actually use the interview itself to help them make a decision. Well, you really know your confirmation concepts. Your faith life seems very vibrant and you love the church. I think you're more ready than you think that you are. Or, it feels like maybe you didn't know exactly everything. It feels like you have a lot of questions about God that you're still resolving. Maybe you should wait and ask how that feels for them. This is so that we have a compassionate and very thorough way of helping every child make a good decision for them.